Assalamu alaikum. This is Mubaraka. How are you? So I am coming live from California. If you guys follow me at all, you know that I live in Connecticut. So I was at a conference and I had an amazing experience, and I had some aha moments that I'm going to be sharing with you over the next couple of days. But I thought I'd start off with, I've gotten a couple of messages from people asking about motivation. So you know me for talking fitness and nutrition, and I hope that's going great for you. But everybody asks me about all of these other things, lots of clients and followers. And so I thought I'd take a few minutes over the next couple of days to really talk to you about motivation. It's something I'm asked about a lot, as well as confidence, how to get unstuck, right? So if you've ever felt like you know what you should be doing, and this can apply to exercise, fitness, it can apply to starting a business, it can apply to anything in your life, we get in these points where we feel stuck. We know what we should be doing. We know what our day should be going like. We know the steps. It's kind of like a to-do list in your head that you never get to check off. You ever had that feeling? Well, there's some things that I do specifically, and I'm going to challenge you to join me on something at the end of the video. So stay with me. So what do you do when you can't get yourself up and you can't get yourself motivated? So I'm going to try to give you three tips that I use personally. So the first one is you have to do a little introspection and really be honest. Are you procrastinating simply because you're not motivated to do it? Or are you procrastinating, or are you not doing it because it takes you out of your comfort zone, because there's a fear there, right? So I actually suggest two different techniques depending on why you're not doing what you are supposed to be doing. So there is a book called Eat That Frog. I highly recommend it, especially if you are having you're having a procrastination issue, if you're having a hard time starting something that you are afraid to do. It is called Eat That Frog. It's by Brian Tracy. It's an excellent book. So this is a technique where you do the hardest thing that you are supposed to be doing first thing in the morning. First thing you do the hardest thing you're supposed to do. So Eat That Frog is based on the philosophy that if you had to eat a frog every day, if you had to eat frogs, right, and you got up in the morning and the first thing that you did was ate the biggest, ugliest frog that you could find, then you can go the rest of your day knowing that you have done the most difficult thing that you would have to do that day. Right? And this is actually proven by some scientific research that shows that it actually helps you to stop procrastinating, get things done. You are more productive during your day. So how do you apply that? If you have not exercised in years, if you have never exercised, and exercise is something that you know you should be doing, but you are going to go to that 6 p.m. class after work, no, you need to be getting up in the morning and doing it first thing in the morning. That is when you need to be a morning exerciser. If exercise is hard for you, then do it first thing in the morning. That is called eating that frog. If you run a business and you really don't like making sales calls, then when you get to work, the first thing that you should be doing is calling clients and making sales calls. Don't check your email. Don't say, oh, I have to post on social media or scroll and watch Mubaraka's video. You watch it after you eat that frog. So that is one technique of making sure that you do what you are supposed to do. Now, here's a different philosophy. And I'll let you choose which ones work for you. And it might work for you for, getting your project done at work. And then a different technique works for you exercising, right? So if I suggest that if your issue is just simply procrastination, it's not something that makes you feel uncomfortable or takes you out of your comfort zone, then you can start with baby steps. That's something that's baby steps. If you do one little thing that is going to help you get to your goal, right? So you used to be an avid exerciser, right? And things are just getting like really, really busy for you, and you love exercising, you just can't seem to fit it in when you need to. Start off with doing 10 minutes a day. I'm going to walk, I'm going to do this, and that actually will get you, it will prompt you to actually add more to it. This actually works really good for financial management. You know, sometimes one philosophy in financial management, if you're trying to get your bills under control, get yourself out of debt, is not actually paying the biggest bill, but list your bills and pay off the smallest debt first, because it gives you momentum. It makes you feel like you've accomplished something. So that is actually a great technique for paying your debt off, right? So that's one. So actually, those are two different ways that you can motivate yourself. Another technique for motivating yourself, and here is what I do in the evening time when I have a something that I know I've been procrastinating doing. I'm a huge proponent of visualizing, right? The night before, when you go to bed, and hopefully early enough to get yourself 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Sleep is extremely important, and we'll talk about that in another video. But one of the techniques of making sure that you get through what you have to accomplish the next day is when you go to bed at night, you write down kind of like, if it's that one most important thing, if it is that, you know, I have to get this thing done, visualize yourself doing it. Go through your day the night before in your head. I need to go here. I need to accomplish this. Not every little teeny weeny thing, right? So hopefully you have a list of the things, and then there's the most important list, like your top 3, and then things that may be able to wait another day, right? So for me, it's things like, I may not have to wash. I should wash tomorrow, wash my clothes, but I may need to, you know, that's not on the top 3 kind of list of things to do. So make sure that in your mind that you actually visualize that. If that is making, let's use the example of calling a client again, right? And you're trying to make a sale, really visualize that client being receptive to your sales process. Visualize what you're going to do and visualize it in a positive manner. That makes a huge difference. And when you get up the next morning, your brain is already processed that you're going to successfully complete those things. So that's really a good technique. So the third thing that I wanted to share with you, and I used to do it and I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to challenge you to do it with me. And I'm going to do it for a week, right? Some people do it for a week, some people do it for 30 days, and hopefully it will stick after the week, right? Because I used to do it and then I stopped, but I'm going back to doing it, right? And that is take a cold shower in the morning time, right? So here is the philosophy behind taking a cold shower. Our brain, when you procrastinate and you don't do the things that you know you should do, you're actually conditioning your brain. But our brain is an amazing organ, and it can be reconditioned and it can be retrained. And when you want to get rid of the habit of procrastination, you actually need to retrain your brain to do what makes it uncomfortable. So no one really likes taking a cold shower, right? It actually shocks the body into awakeness. It stimulates the brain. This is good things, or it can be bad things, depending on what you're trying to do that day. But taking a cold shower every morning, and people have actually researched this, you actually get more accomplished during the day. That's number one. Number two, it wakes you up, right? So it's going to totally wake you up. And I'm not talking about like cooling the shower off. I'm talking about like, you know how you get your shower like nice and warm right, I don't know, I like them like right before it's too hot. I like really hot showers. You actually get it as cold as you can possibly get it, no hot water at all, and you stand under it for at least 2 minutes. So that doesn't mean that you have to wash up like that, right? So there's two ways to do it. You can actually wash up in your regular warm shower so that you can make sure that you are taking your time and getting clean like you should be doing, right? And then right before you get out, turn the shower to cold. Or you can choose to actually wash up in cold water if you want to force yourself to stay in it for longer, because you have to rinse off and things. So that is another way to do it. So I am really focused on getting some major projects done. I'm in the process of writing a book and creating a new course, so I really need to focus over the next 30 days, and I have some deadlines to meet, and so it is going to be cold showers for me in the morning. Do you think you want to join me? Do you think you want to see if it makes a difference in your productivity if you took a cold shower every morning? And really take note of like writing down whether or not you are more productive. So I'm actually, it sounds crazy, but I'm kind of excited to do it. I actually started this morning. I did cold after I finished taking my shower and washing up. So I'm feeling really productive, and I'm going to be traveling most of the day because I am on the opposite side of the country. I am in California, but I live on the West Coast, and I live in Connecticut on the East Coast. So hopefully even in my travels today, I can get some stuff accomplished and some stuff written. So those are some tips. So, oh, you know what I didn't say? Cold shower, most important part. How does it work with motivating you and getting you to get stuff done? It actually trains your brain that being uncomfortable is a temporary state, right? So when you are in that cold shower, and then obviously you get out after a couple of minutes, right? Your brain knows that it's only a temporary state, that level of being uncomfortable. And you know, it actually reminds me of another tip that I actually didn't think about before I started the video, but now that I'm thinking about it, I certainly have to mention it. Another way to train your brain to be uncomfortable and knowing that that state is not permanent and that state is actually going to make you better is HIIT training, right? So we do talk about fitness a lot here, but HIIT training is another way. It puts your body in a very uncomfortable state for short periods of time, and then you get to rest. And so it trains your brain that stress is not a permanent state, and there is a reprieve after it, because being stressed for anything, during exercise, during, your kids acting up in school, whatever it is, the problem that we have with stress is that we tend to dwell on it, and our brain is in this constant state of stress, which is not a good thing. Our bodies and our physiology is made to deal with stress. We have a response to it. It's a natural part of the human condition. But the dilemma that we have today is that stress was meant to be short term. Like, you're going through the forest, you see a tiger, is going by, you're hiding, and then the stress is over, right? But now what happens is our stress is all day long, right? You go from stressful, not waking up late, getting out the door and getting your kids to school. You have an overbearing boss during the day. You come home, and, it's stress throughout your entire day. And so we have to learn how to train our brain to turn our stress levels off, right? It's a temporary thing. So I wanted to say those things to you about getting and staying motivated. And I also want to give salam. So Abdi Muhammad